Hi there, my name is Professor Oak. I mean Jordan, and this is Shared Screens Elite 4, Shared Screens, one and only Pokemon exclusive show, where we have a show within a show, but rather than it being itchy and scratchy, it's called The Road to Victory, and it is a podcast where we go around looking for people's dream Pokemon game. Now, I went first. We had the wonderful Austin J. Ernst go next, and today we are here with Chris's Pokemon game, and joining us is Alec Bobko and Austin Ernst from Shared Screens as well.
Woo!
But never mind, Austin's gone.
Technical difficulties. Technical difficulties.
Or would it be the Ekans got him?
The Ekans bit him in the eyes.
The Seviper.
Oh, Seviper's cool. That actually has to.
The Sandaconda, whatever the ground snake.
Sandaconda, yeah.
My Sandaconda don't.
Oh.
My Sandaconda don't. My Sandaconda don't want none unless you got buns. You could do tackles and sit-ups. But don't forget for alligator's butt. Boom, we brought it back from last week. Remember when for alligator had the cheeks?
Yep.
This isn't a myth. This isn't a bit. This is a real fact, people.
Oh, yeah.
Can this be the social clip even if Austin wasn't here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely a social clip. But he's back.
There we go.
That's damn it. We don't have to stop us.
You missed a great segment.
Just keep it rolling.
It was such a good intro. I heard the intro.
That's good. That's what matters. Anyway, as always, we're going to start off with some Pokemon icebreakers. And today I have a fun one that I think is going to be, we already did the basic, what's your favorite Pokemon? And that's probably going to come up a lot as we each talk about our own personal Pokemon dreams, experiences, all that. So I want to get into everyone's your other top few Pokemon, but you don't have to rank them. Doesn't have to be your all time, but maybe at the moment, other Pokemon, you're always this one is just, it's a solid one. And another Pokemon icebreaker. I should have prepared these beforehand, but it's been a long ass day. In that same vein, let's go with designs you think are better in the pre-evolution than the evolution.
Ooh. Oh, I got that.
I got that in spades, baby.
Perfect.
I'm gonna need a minute, but
all right, I'll go first to let everyone give it a minute to think. Yeah. So some of my other I talked in the first episode that my favorite Pokemon's a tie between Elekid, Electivire. My others my 2s, my 3s is Glalie always been one where I'm you just look sick. You're just a floating 500-pound head, and that is fucking badass. Scizor also one where it's just sleek, fucking just 10-year-old definition of cool. And then another one, Chris, you mentioned.
Scizor is one of mine.
Yeah, Chris, you mentioned the counterpart to this Pokemon, but fucking Zangoose is another one where I'm you just look badass. You have the cut on your eye, but yeah. I have a Japanese Zangoose from Wonder Trading in Pokemon at Y. When I originally played it, that is now currently in my Pokemon home. Fun fact: in German, Zangoose is just called Zengo.
Okay,
so he's Sengo the Zangoose. Yeah, and as for evolutions, I think pre-evolutions that I think look better. Obviously, the fact that Electabuzz isn't in my top tells me that I like both its pre and post evolutions better. Well, we all have a rough puberty stage, and that's what middle evolutions tend to be. But one I'm gonna shout out for now is this is not, I think Banette is a bad design. I just think there's something about the simplicity of Shuppet that I'm that's a ghost type.
Yeah.
That is just so much cooler. Yeah, it's just it's just a little sheet with a little head and eyes, and I'm boom. Banette's cool in it being a doll with the lost soul, but there's just something about Shuppet that I feel is way more streamlined, and I like better. And another one where I like the other evolutions better. Let me think, because I feel there's a few, but now that I'm thinking of it, I can't think of any.
Fair enough. They're no more. They don't exist.
Yeah, I can't think of another one, but Alec, sound like you had a couple prepared before.
Well, yeah, it's because the first one or the second question, I guess, that the pre-evolution that you like better than the final is for me. My favorite Pokemon is Rhydon. I like his design way better than Rhyperior.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not that saying Rhyperior is bad, but I just love how clean Rhydon's design is.
Sure.
Went through that in the first episode, but in terms of some of my other favorites, Scizor's up there. Just scrolling through the Pokedex a bit here. Lucario, he's so pretty cool. what was it? Just I had one in my mind. Metagross. Just that
Ooh,
kind of whole
yeah.
line of like, I mean, it sucks when it's a Beldum because you just have takedown for so long. Kind of like how you just have splash for Magikarp for so long, but then get Metang at level 20 and the lore of like how two Beldum fuse together to make Metang and two Metang fuse together to make Metagross.
Yep.
And honestly, a lot of Gen 3 mods I really like because like the Salamence line's really cool.
Yeah.
Sure.
And yeah, Absol there is another good one.
One of my faves.
Shout out to Luxray, another good one, another good electric type.
Just badass.
Yeah. Looks really cool.
And yeah, it's just honestly, and just shout out to the starters too. Starters always have pretty cool designs.
I'm always tempted to like keep my starter at a starter because I think they always look good, but I never do it. But I'm always pretty close.
I always want to in black and white because all the black white final forms look ugly.
Ooh, you're telling me, buddy.
Rainbow.
Playing through black for the first time right now, and let me tell you, I think I've been talking to Kumail about it, and he said it best. He goes, "Oshawott the best starter because it's mid. Like it's best because it's mid and
It's
not
fine.
bad."
Yeah.
I'll say just starters. I would have to go Totodile. Like, dude, he's just a little dude.
I love Totodile.
He's just a little guy, just a little fella.
Just a little man.
Dude.
Chris, what about you?
So as far as just like other like Pokemon that like other favorite Pokemon that I have a lot of them. And luckily I have a lot of them in Pokemon Go, so I was able to kind of refresh myself on
That's a good idea.
ones that I
Didn't
want to
even
pick. I
think
have a
about
lot of as an old head, I have a lot of like Gen 1 favorites. Magneton, Machamp, Snorlax, Aerodactyl. I'm gonna throw Incineroar in there. I actually really love Incineroar. A wrestling
cool.
fire type game. Fire type.
I've never
Even
been a
Smash
fan
Bros.
of when they started getting like occupations. Like I thought that was weird.
Well,
I get what
see,
you mean, Austin.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. What's the Sword and Shield Score Bunny? I like that one too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
I
honest.
think,
with
but
you.
I just think it's weird.
because
But
I also like soccer.
design wise, I think it's cool.
But I mean, Machoke has had a job since Emerald.
I guess, but they don't flaunt it.
Machop evolves. When he evolves, he grows a championship belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just aesthetically, and I like it a lot.
I like Hitmonchan a ton.
I give that a pass.
Gengar, Jolteon. I've always thought Jolteon was really cool looking. I'm again as I had family that lived in Hawaii for a long time, and I would go and visit them, and I fell in love with Hawaii. I love a lot of the Alolan forms of Pokemon, in particular the Alolan Raichu, as it surfs on its tail. And I used to surf. I love that, and I love palm trees, so I love Alolan Executor. Genuinely one of my all-time, like it's like a top 3 ever Pokemon for me is Alolan Executor.
Wow.
I love it.
Even though he's a dragon type?
Yeah, especially because he's a dragon type.
It's a little weird.
In particular,
I like it.
Quad ice to weak or quad weak to ice.
So we're 90% of dragon types, though.
Yeah. I like Primeape, and what's the name of Primeape's new evolution?
Annihilate.
Annihilate. I like,
which is just a great fucking pun.
That was when I was going to bring up Chris. So thank you.
Yeah. So Nidoking, Tauros, I love Dragonite, Lapras. Like, there's a lot of Lapras is great, right?
I love Lapras.
Lapras is a good one. Yeah.
I love Mamoswine.
One I forgot to shout out was Aegislash from X and Y.
Oh yeah, Aegislash. Come on.
Is that the one that's just 2 swords?
No, that's the final.
It's the sword and shield.
And then he has the stance change. So he has like one form that's like the sword and he's holding the shield, and then another where he like goes into his defense mode. And
I've never personally been a fan of those either, because I was like, evolutionary wise, I don't know how you exist, but okay. They're like a freaking
it's a ghost.
later.
What about pre-evolutions you think are better than their post-evolutions?
I'm gonna throw out Slowbro and the new Farfetch'd as well.
Those are both good answers.
As far as pre-evolutions, I'm gonna get weird. I like Pumpkaboo a lot.
Okay.
And I think Pumpkaboo's pre-evolution is way better. I actually like Meowth way more than Persian.
Okay.
I never hated Persian. I just thought it was like I feel like it really needed a 3rd evolution.
Way more than Persian. I like Meowth. Shout out to Fuecoco as well. I think
Cool.
he's adorable as is.
Yes.
You can't really improve on perfection.
You can't improve on perfection, and Fuecoco is just a head empty, no thoughts looking Pokemon, and I love him.
Him and Totodile are best friends.
He's just like me for
yeah,
this.
absolutely. They're just little dudes. I'm gonna shout out Mudkip as well. I actually think Mudkip looks perfect.
Yeah.
I like Mudkip.
Yeah.
He's a cutie. I like Mudkip.
I like Mudkips. And I'm gonna get a little spicy. Pikachu. I love Pikachu. Didn't need Raichu.
Yeah, I mean, I
if
feel like
I'm
they
honest.
do that on purpose. They're like, hey, there's like they've tried hard to make very few Raichu fans.
Yeah.
I was going to shout out Raichu. Not even going to lie. I think I like Raichu
and it's
more
like
than
I got
Pikachu.
nothing against Raichu. I love me some Pikachu, with the exception, of course, of Alolan Raichu. I fucking love Alolan Raichu.
Sure.
I fell in love with Alolan Raichu
da-da-da-da.
in New Pokemon Snap because like there was like ways to like get him to do tricks on his tail, and it was just perfect.
And then my last one that I prefer as a pre-evolution is another new one. I genuinely love Lechonk. Lechonk is great. He's my boy.
Yeah.
He reminds me of Spoink.
He's a little ride or die. Yeah, but he's cooler.
Yeah. He's got a kick-ass name. I'll give him that.
It is a kick-ass.
Lechonk.
Lechonk.
Oh,
2012 Rage
I
Comics.
forgot other like favorite Pokemon. How could I leave out my boy Vanillux? Genuinely love him.
Yeah, you genuinely love Vanillux.
I unironically love Vanillux. I'm the
All
one.
my homies love Vanillux.
I'm the one person on Earth who loves Vanillux.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I'm good.
I'll pass. Toxtricity was another one of my favorites.
Oh
like
yeah,
his design.
Toxtricity is dope.
Toxicity is good.
I like his design.
All right. And Austin, what about you?
I mean, I'm going last, so a lot of the things you guys have said already. I was going to shout out Annihilate. I was going to shout out Raichu. I've always been a Raichu guy, not really a Pikachu guy.
Yeah.
That was just when I got to the age where it was like, I don't want to like things everyone else likes, so it was like, I'm going to like Raichu instead, and it just kind
Super
of stuck.
fair.
I like Crobat a lot.
Okay.
I don't think
Crobat's a
Crobat
good one.
gets talked about enough. There was another one before this.
Justice
but
for Crobat.
the evolution that I was like, I mean, it's a stage 2, not a stage 3. But
Either way,
I always thought Dragonair was so much cooler than Dragonite.
that's fair.
Like just way cooler. Like Dragonite is like the modern day dragon, whereas like Dragonair was like the cooler, just like snake like flying one. I was like that's cool to me.
I like
least
specifically
cooler.
the Dragonite that appears in Pokemon the first movie with his little messenger bag.
The little
Yep,
I
carrier
like that
bag.
Dragonite.
I'm with you.
I like that Dragonite.
I've always been a fan of like Pokemon that I could see myself having if I were a Pokemon trainer. That would be like hang out like on my shoulder or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like Butterfree. That's Apom. I think Apom's pretty freaking dope.
Apom is
Apom's
better than
cool.
Ambipom. That's one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see, what else do I got? Sneasel. I think Sneasel's pretty cool.
Ooh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Houndour I've always been a fan of.
I like both too much.
Oh, good call.
I like Houndour a lot. I always like Larvitar, but not the other ones. I think Larvitar looks like he just looks like a bully, but he's just
That's
like he's like a smug little guy.
Tyranitar's so good though.
I like Tyranitar
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
I always like Trico's design too. Blaziken's really cool. Now I'm just going through them, but yeah, the main ones I wanted to shout out were like Raichu, Annihilate, and Apom, and then for the evolution thing, it was Dragonair. So and shout out to Umbreon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, mm-hmm. Espeon.
Yep,
that's another one for me. Yeah, I like Espeon a lot.
That's what I got.
Yep.
Alec, you want to pause real quick?
I like a lot of Pokemon.
Yeah.
All good Pokemon indeed. Now, without further ado, let's hand it off and let's let Chris lead this party of Pokemon. Because that's all we are, right? We're all just Pokemon in our own way.
I'm a Pokemon?
We're all
What kind of
living in a
Pokemon are
Pokemon
you?
world.
Pokemon.
I wanna be. Guys, I unironically think that might be my top song on my Spotify rap this year, and that's not even given the fact that I play it mainly on YouTube because YouTube has the full version and Spotify doesn't.
Of which Pokemon World?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good
My
one.
Spotify rap this year is going to be 90% Pokemon music, and I'm gonna I just have to face the man I am. I'm gonna have to show it to the world and be like, yes, this is who I am.
This
have to
is
show
me,
For the
world.
record.
If you
And
can't
then-
handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my very best.
This is your best, Jordan.
And then literally everyone that's ever met you will be like, yeah, we know.
No, that tracks.
That checks out.
Did you guys see that one clip from the Peak to the Path cartoon they're doing about the cards when the dad is driving and he plays Pokemon World and the kid is like groaning in the back, and then it just cuts to all the kids singing along with the dad.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's the funniest fucking thing.
Yeah.
Which also, please watch Path to the Peak. It's very good. As a huge fan of the trading card game, for those that don't know, it's literally about like this little girl who joins like her school's Pokemon trading card game club, and like starts to like compete and go to tournaments and those sorts of things, and learns all that, and like there's it's animated kind of like a Disney movie, like it's really cute and fun.
Okay.
And something I didn't know when they first advertised it, something I didn't pick up on. It does not exist within the world of Pokemon. They are literally playing with cards.
No, yeah, it exists within our world. It's literally about like professional Pokemon trading card game players. Like it's very cool.
Yeah. All right,
awesome.
It was really funny learning like the first episode that the parents played the game, and that's how she gets all her old cards and stuff. It's very fun.
Aw.
Anyway,
tell us about your dream Pokemon game, Chris.
So my dream Pokemon game. I want to start off by saying that it's not unlike the past two that we've had on the show. It's not going to be like a super radical idea. What I kind of want out of a Pokemon game is almost, it's like 60% there already. What I want to do is kind of take what exists and enhance it in a way to expand it more. And this all comes from the feeling that requires a little bit of backstory, I guess, because I myself am a 31-year-old man sitting here on the internet talking about Pokemon. When Pokemon first hit the States in 99, 98, whatever, I was 7-8 years old. I was the prime target demographic for Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, right? I'd watched the shows, I collected the cards, I had the toys, I did all of it. I saw Pokemon the first movie in 2000, like in theaters. I was doing the trading card nights at Burger King and stuff when they had the toys there. Like I was in.
The marketing department had a picture of Chris in their office in like a creepy way. They were like,
make this kid, this kid like it.
It was probably a little creepy, let's be real.
And so, what I want is kind of to realize a Pokemon game that is sort of what it was like to play Pokemon as a kid, but for grown-ups. It's and it's a Pokemon for grown-ups in a way that's not like dark, gritty, like
what?
Mature, like mature, right? I still want it to be accessible, but I want a Pokemon game that recognizes that a large part of its fan base are adults who grew up playing the games. So what this is it is not a dual version type. You're not looking at a red, blue, ruby, sapphire. Like this is a single game called
Pokemon Purple.
It's
sorry.
I don't know why that got me so hard. I'm so tired, audience. You have no idea. I'm recording this hot off the heels of a fucking like 12-hour shift at work.
And we appreciate.
We love the unhingedness.
All for you guys, baby. All for you guys. This is Pokemon like no one ever was. Okay.
Is that the title?
That is the title, like no one ever was.
You had to one up my title. Fuck you.
I had that in the chamber since we came up with the idea for this show. I've had it locked and loaded, baby. And also similar to Austin's game, it is 2.5D. I feel like that's perfect for what this game is. And also 2.5D games are really pretty. Like they're just go look at them. They look really nice. So the setting, well, we'll start with it's Kanto and Johto, baby. The whole idea is you and somebody else you have just moved to Pallet Town, right? Canonically, this takes place after like the story events of Gold and Silver, right? So you have just moved to Pallet Town. You meet a kid there. It has been your forever dream to become the greatest Pokemon trainer of all time. It's very simple, straight to the point. As somebody that grew up playing Pokemon in the 90s, I've always kind of loved like the just kind of basic approach to be like, just go out and be the best. Like that is the goal, to go out and be the very best, like no one ever was. And I kind of wanted to adhere to that and keep it classic in a way that it is that you are in Kanto. After you do stuff in Kanto, you go to Johto. I'll expand
Imagine if
more
that's
on,
what life
on
was.
stuff past that later.
Just the adult in your life looking at you being like, get good.
Like, yeah, like
Yeah.
they're like, Mom, I can't win these Pokemon battles, and she just goes, sounds like a skill issue, really.
Skill issue, bitch.
Skill issue, TBH.
Mom.
So the idea here then is a similar setup to what we have in the vast majority of the mainline Pokemon games, which is you have your gyms, you have the Elite Four. Similar to Gold and Silver in this is you go through Kanto, you beat all the gym leaders there, you go beat the Elite Four, become the champion, you move on to Johto, you get in sort of a reverse of Gold and Silver, you start in Kanto, you go to Johto, and you can fight gym leaders there. So like it plays like a Pokemon game as you think a Pokemon game it plays like that. The difference here is what I want again is to respect the idea that there are 30-year-olds playing these games now still. Yeah, I never stopped. Most of us here had maybe like a short break in high school and then came back and have continued playing it. When everyone in our generation thought it wasn't cool to play Pokemon for a while, we were all secretly at home playing them, and then in college 100%. We're like, oh shit, we were actually all just doing this. Who cares anymore?
Except if you're me, you were just continuously playing Gold over and over again.
For me, it was Sapphire. I played the fuck out of Sapphire in high school.
Yeah, no. Going into college, there was two big reveals about things people did in secret. It was like Pokemon and cocaine, two very different things, but both very big wake up calls to like what people were actually up to.
I thought you were going to say masturbating.
I also thought
yes, no, the thing people do. People think people start in college, Austin.
That's a good point.
Oh goodness.
But so the idea here is that it is a Pokemon game for adults, in that the tone is still the same. The way it plays is still the same, but it is and still be accessible. What really I want, the biggest kind of shift that this game has is that it has difficulty options.
Okay.
Gasp. I know. Imagine having choices for the level of difficulty that you want.
But they already do. It depends on which starter you pick.
No.
Nope.
Incorrect.
Generation 1 is true. Now
technically correct.
To an extent, but that's not what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
What I would like to see is literally at the beginning of it it's like, hey, have you played Pokemon for a long time? Because there's a more challenging option that you can do. And really what it is, I don't even want like Pokemon Dark Souls. What I want is just a Pokemon that respects my intelligence, and in that it's not, every other trainer has 3 Rattatas or 6 Magikarps. You just blow through everything. What
the Pokemon catching tutorial?
Yeah, no. Understand that I've been playing Pokemon for 30 fucking years, right?
Yeah. I know to weaken it. I know to put
now
status on it.
These difficulty settings, and tell me if I'm getting ahead of your pitch here.
No, this is where
do they only go up, or is there even options to make things easier for even newer players or younger kids?
Well, see, and I didn't want to leave that out. I still want. I mean, obviously, kids are still a large part of the demographic of that Pokemon is marketed to. There is still kind of Pokemon as it exists right now. That's still, and I would even consider that like the normal difficulty on it.
That's what I was going to ask, I guess. Yeah, more is like, is standard Pokemon normal or is it easy? Standard
Pokemon is easy, right? Like normal is Pokemon as you know it. If you go out and play any of the games that are out right now, it's still Pokemon.
Yeah.
What I just want is basically a harder mode, and the way that it's implemented, I think would be. There's two kind of basic things. Is one that I would love to see is kind of like level scaling, particularly in the gyms. Even if the trainers that are out and about aren't the most challenging thing, that's okay. A lot of the trainers that you fight in most of the Pokemon games are just kind of people that are out and about doing stuff, right? They're hikers while you're in caves. They're fishermen along the like whatever. They can still kind of be just sort of there. Something
they're
to
just
do
kind of
while
obstacles
you're
to
doing.
Get through, anyway.
But
you also need to make grinding like approachable.
Yeah, and so what I would love to see, since it is like the primary focus of the game is to be the greatest trainer of all time and clear like the gym challenge is I want the gyms to be challenging. That's kind of the point of why they're there. They're a test of your skills to that point. And something that I love is there was an anime short series that came out prior to the release of X and Y called Pokemon Origins, and they reveal sort of that in the canon of Pokemon, you see Red approach Brock, and Brock asks, "How many Pokemon do you have?" And at the time, he says like 2 or 3. And this thing comes out the wall, and there's just a line of Pokeballs, and he goes, "That's how many?" And he goes, "Okay, well, I'll pick these 2. You don't have any badges yet. I'm going to pick these 2 Pokemon, and it's Geodude and Onix." Because similar to the way that Violet had Scarlet and Violet you can kind of challenge the gyms in whatever way you want. You'll get clapped by a couple of them if there's still kind of a certain order you want to put them to do them in. So rather than have it be open world, but you still got to play them in a certain order, what I would love to do is have it be open world and have the gyms be as challenging as like the number of badges that you have or the levels of your own Pokemon. Have it adjust to where you're at in the story so far. Jordan, I couldn't tell if you had a question or if you're just very, very tired.
No, I'm just nodding along. I'm just
okay, cool.
I'm listening.
I just want to make sure I was trying to prep. And so because this is Kanto and Johto, like years after those games, you can kind of tweak the layout of Kanto a bit to be able to kind of traverse it without it being as linear as the original Red and Blue. I would love to be able to kind of be like, I'm going to fight Brock and Misty, and then after Brock and Misty, I'm going to go fight Sabrina or Koga or whatever.
Are we still
have that openness to it a bit?
Are we still on difficulty, or are we moving on from difficulty? Because I have a question about difficulty.
It's a little bit of both. Please ask your question.
So the way it scales difficulty is just like the Pokemon they have are better. Is that what we're getting at, or?
So when I say scales difficulty, there's a thing that the Elder Scrolls series does with its difficulty scaling that ends up kind of.
I thought you said you don't want Pokemon Dark Souls.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Elder Scrolls. Yeah.
I heard Elden Ring.
There's a thing that Elder Scrolls will do to where it's like while you can get over level to a point, it'll always kind of bring enemies up to around where you're at. To still be kind of a challenge. It is very funny once you're in the end game and bandits have like ridiculously high level shit when they're coming after you. But and so we don't need to tweak it that far. But the idea is that their Pokemon, the gym leaders' Pokemon levels will be around or slightly under or slightly above you, to where it's not set levels in there, and their moveset changes obviously depending on what level it is, right?
Sure.
Just so that you're there, unless you have your strategy in mind when you're going in. If you're fighting Brock with a water Pokemon, you're going to do really well, obviously. Right. But it's not going to be as easy as if you have level 30 Lapras and he's still got his levels 12 and 14 Geodude and Onix.
Yeah. So you don't necessarily see the AI getting better, or as Brock has more Pokemon, maybe some of the rock ones are part water type, so a single water type can actually sweep through them all.
Exactly. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes, that would be a part of it as well. I love the more competitive movesets, and then rather than just having like 6 Pokemon, like and again, this is all pie in the sky. I don't know how anyone would actually implement this. I'm not a game dev, but I would love to see just like a almost sort of pool of Pokemon that gym leaders can use that change depending on how many badges you have, what level your Pokemon are at, and then have a couple surprises in there. Like you roll up on Misty and suddenly she's got a Pokemon that's like fucking resistant to electricity or whatever, something like that. I have no specific
like a Ludicolo.
Yeah, sure, Ludicolo. Exactly. To where you're like, I have a Pikachu. I'm gonna go fight Misty, and here comes Ludicolo, and you're like, oh,
joke's
shit
on you.
That sort of thing. I think would be very cool.
Other ideas I had to make it difficult, like if you, I kind of brought this up for like my game that when I pitched that, but like sometimes when you like trade a Pokemon, if you're not at a certain level, like they'll disobey you. And I'm not saying that would be the reason they disobey you, but like if your difficulty's higher, maybe it's harder to train the Pokemon. So sometimes they disobey you when you go into battle.
I'm gonna be 100.
I'm just gonna be honest.
I'd say I'm gonna be 100 with you. And that sort of thing has always really bothered me. I know that it's just so it's there so you can't just trade a friend who gives you a level in 100 Pokemon and you just blast through the whole thing like immediately. I know why it's there. I've never been a fan of that mechanic. And I also really fucking hate grinding. So I'm gonna say no to the
I also
to the
other idea
training.
I had as I like the idea of a gym leader or a trainer having an ace. Like I think like if they have their one Pokemon that is like higher level by a few than everyone else, and like that is their guy. But I don't feel like because like you get that sometimes in the games, but I feel like it's never implemented very well. So I just like the idea of that being like a
I
big
love
deal.
that too, especially because a lot of the gym leaders do have iconic Pokemon that you sort of associate. You have Brock and Onyx, you have Misty and Starmie, like that sort of thing. And yeah, I think that should be how it is. You have their team that's pretty close, maybe slightly above, and then Misty throws out Starmie. It's like 4 or 5 levels above you, and you're like, oh fuck, this is gonna be hard. Like like
this is her guy.
Yeah, that's exactly 100%. I'm glad you picked up on that. I love that idea a ton, and some of them even like Lieutenant Surge, let's say, just has a huge Raichu. Fuck you,
6 feet tall.
Or,
one gigantic Raichu.
An alpha Raichu.
Or, you could always have what's that one? Electros from Generation 5 that has Levitate, but it's an electric type.
Yeah. So it has full weaknesses.
Like it was like it's like when I remember the first time I rolled into the lightning gym in black and white, and she's got 2 Emolgas. I had a ground type that I was ready to use against her, and I couldn't because Emolga fucking flies. And that was kind of the thing where it was like I that's kind of part of the difficulty that I want included in there. It's stuff to kind of get around the way that you would normally approach just a gym just by having a Pokemon that's of a strong type advantage.
Yep. So how do you see the game adapting to make this difficulty more approachable? Because like I'm playing through a Pokemon game, it's kind of like a standard one right now. I'm playing through Black for the first time, and like I actually just got to the electric gym, and there is like that aspect of when you're playing through a game for the first time, it's you can't really control the EVs you're getting because there's Pokemon that you can't avoid fighting. You can't obviously like breed for the best IVs. So there's that. But then there's also like, oh, the best actual move set might be TMs I can't get till further into the game. So like, are you making it so that most things like a lot of these things are going to be more easily accessible so you can make a team to take out the
One, yes. I've loved the steps that Scarlet and Violet in particular have made towards like EV training to make it more accessible. I'm even going to say get rid of the costing. If you there should just be like a way to go into the Pokemon Mart or whatever, or even just like, hey, I want my Pokemon to be similar to this, like a fucking Pokemon editor just built into the game or some shit. If you want, I don't know. Really, the difficulty isn't designed to be hard as balls. It's there to just be more challenging. In my mind, you're still probably beating these gym leaders in like 3 tries maximum.
Yeah.
It's like maybe that first time you get caught off guard, you're like, oh shit, this is how I get past that, and like it's not supposed to be like knock you on your ass difficult. It's just one where like their movesets are a little better, and they're employing those more. The Pokemon are a little stronger. Maybe they have a couple tricks up their sleeve, an ace Pokemon, that sort of thing. It's just one that is still kind of laid back, fun to play through. You're not like getting sweaty like you're going to like Worlds. It's just like realize that I'm an adult and I would at least like some challenge here.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make me have to pay attention.
And again, this is still an option. If you just want to play Pokemon like all of the other Pokemon games you ever heard, that's still the normal version of this game.
I guess.
Yeah.
One thing I have is seeing this difficulty option because Black and White they kind of introduced that, but you had to beat the game to unlock that.
Yeah, and I hated that.
Right at the jump.
It's right at the beginning. Right at the beginning. Yeah, please.
Do they preface you with like, hey, the intended experience is this one, which is normal, easy, but for those who want more of a challenge, you kind of... Are you still here?
Jordan bounced out for a second. I'm sorry, ask that question again.
So for the difficulty being right at the front like that, do they preface like, hey, the intended experience is for like the normal kind of breeze through it, but like these other options are here? Like, do they explain that at the
Yeah,
top?
100%. Basically, it's sort of presented to you as like, hey, Pokemon as is still Pokemon. That is the experience, and you can continue this way. Or if you're an experienced Pokemon player who has been with the series for a long time and wants something that will make you think a little bit more about the game, here's this version of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's obviously big in the marketing. It's like, hey, adults play Pokemon. Here's a Pokemon game for you.
Yep.
That
It's
sort of
like
thing.
like by the difficulty options is like recommended for new players and recommended
Yeah,
for seasoned players, recommended for
exactly.
the hardest challenge kind of thing.
Exactly. And like if you did want to do like an unlockable super hard difficulty, I like similar to what Black did, then I think that that's still there, but like the sort of the more challenging option is there right off the rip. You pick it at the start of the game.
Sure.
Yeah. Let me see. What else did I have? Sorry, what notes have I covered already?
Gotcha.
So, I'm sorry, I disconnected for a little bit
That's
there,
okay.
so I missed this part. Why just Kanto and Johto? Are you limited to just the 251, or are
So
there going to be Pokemon from other regions available? Is there a more unique dex?
So here's my thought. And like it's pretty story light. I actually don't love when Pokemon gets like super into cutscenes. Does all of its stuff is like the thing I want to be doing is catching Pokemon and fighting gyms,
Yeah.
right? Like
I like a good balance, but
that's what I'm there for. And there will be kind of a way to get more of that in the post game, and I'll get to that. So as far as like the main game, the majority of what you're doing is Kanto Johto. You beat Kanto, you become like the champion there, and then similar to Gold and Silver, when you have this sort of like Kanto Light version, you have a Johto Light. After you get through Johto Light, here's all of the other regions in a similar smaller remixed way, right? As far as the deck, and so it's similar to Gold and Silver in that it's not like the full region in it. It's kind of there, like the towns are there. It's the same typical layout. It's smaller than it was in its previous games, because you're not there to have a huge journey through it. You're going there to fight gyms, collect Pokemon, do all that stuff again. Exactly. And so I'm opening up to every other existing region that's been in Pokemon so far. Yes, Alec.
So I just had like, the way you said it, like in Kanto, obviously you just the way the regions laid out. You almost have to go Brock and Misty first, and then it kind of opens up.
Yes, exactly. Brock and Misty are sort of your intro to the game. Yeah.
Yeah. So my thought, would you be able to, like, I know you were just saying you had to go through all of Kanto, then do all of Johto, and that, kind of like the reverse of Gold and Silver. But I'm just saying you have the train station there in Saffron.
That's a very good point. My thought was actually the SSN. And initially is you take the SSN that takes you pick a new region, you go there, you play through that region, get back on
right.
The
But I was just thinking
SSN.
for Johto and Kanto though, the train station.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great point. Yeah,
because then you could go back and forth between those, and then use the SSN as your like to go to the different regions.
Get hella out of there.
I like that idea. That's really cool.
I know you don't want story, but like you can maybe even incorporate just the order is kind of, because you're like remixing this anyway. You could kind of like play with the order a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Alec kind of touched on it to where it's like the sort of like tutorial of the game is you got to do Brock and Misty first, and then after that Kanto opens up, and then you're able to play as you like past that. You guys asked about Pokedexes. I'm still thinking Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur as the gig is very. I'm an old man. This is a very classics heavy game. I think starting with the OG starters is a really good way, but I think it's an opened Pokedex from the start. There's Pokemon from all regions available in Kanto now at this point. And Johto as well. And there are different Pokemon in Kanto and Johto, and that applies to all of the other regions as well. There are certain Pokemon you're going to have to go somewhere else to go get. But I think a good mix at the beginning is fun.
And you said it's story light. So is there a story reason for that, or they're just there?
They're just there.
Okay. Cool.
They're just there, and I say that just because like I've always thought it's kind of silly if you remember like the original Red and Blue, that it's like they say in no uncertain terms many times, there are 150 Pokemon. And then Gold and Silver come out and they're like, we found 100 more next door.
You know how weird that would be if tomorrow scientists were like, "Yo, we just found 100 new species in Canada, like there. And we just never thought to look. We never counted them before."
Josh didn't tell us.
And then like 2 years later, they're like, "Yo, there's 150 more in Mexico." You know, like it's just like
no, it's not that
the
Josh
whole
didn't
time.
tell us. It's that Josh doesn't know about 100 animals that are here in America that he just doesn't know exists.
We're all uncultured.
Josh is like, what the fuck is a squirrel, man?
I've always thought it's so funny that the verbiage they've always used for when new games come out is like, we've discovered 150 new Pokemon or whatever, and I was like, but these regions are ancient, like they've been around forever, and so that's why I'm like, it's not full national dex. I think it still starts out as like Kanto Johto dex. But that still includes Pokemon from other regions, just because it's weird that I think it would be weird if there weren't.
I like the idea of like Chris just goes through and picks the Pokemon he likes. Like this will be in.
Yeah, I want this one, and I want this one, and no, that one's ugly. Get that one out of here. I want this one.
Fuck you. You're cool.
They do like a Tinder like swipe.
Yeah.
No.
Do you see it as being like?
That's how you start the game. It's just it's like literally
life.
1,000 Pokemon. You're like yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no.
That's your decks.
It takes you an hour to even start.
And like here's the starting Pokedex. And to the point where it does eventually, it's like by the time you finish the game, like every Pokemon that's ever been in a Pokemon game, right? With the exception of the paradoxes, I don't think it makes sense for them to kind of be available here. They're there.
The Brontosaurus in my backyard says otherwise.
Well, my robot Brontosaurus also says otherwise, because it'll turn into a robot in the future.
That's what he becomes in the future.
Yeah, it's what he evolves into in the future is a robot.
Naturally.
I hate it.
It's really dumb. It's really dumb. And some of
you
them
have to go pick up his robot turds because that's somehow a thing.
So some of them look cool, but it doesn't make sense. Anyway,
how are you a robot but still poop?
It is story light. So my thought just for the story, like as kind of like basic as it is like you and your dickhead rival are both trying your hardest to become the best, right? Yes. And that's really what it is. There can be like some side things. Maybe there's like a little thing that happens in like one of the towns or whatever. Like I want the story more to be side quests rather than have like a through line plot. So you go to Lavender Town and you have the Pokemon Tower, right? And that's a thing
totally about that.
Do.
I've heard people explain Gen 2 games as a lot like that. That Gen 2 is a lot of like less of a streamlined story, but more little adventures you have piece by piece, and why it's fun to sometimes do things.
Happens as you move around in Gold and Silver, and I've always liked that because it feels like it's like you're still going out there to catch them all and be the best, and there's also this stuff happening alongside it,
I also like the idea of the dickhead rival being canonically named like Poopy Face McGee or something.
Ass Butt is usually what I name my rivals when it lets me. That's just his
that's just his name. That's just his name.
Yeah.
His name's Ass Butt. You can't change it.
Ass Butt, all one word.
Ass Butt Douche Nozzle. You were named after two of the bravest men I ever knew.
And yeah, that's the thing. Most of the gym leaders that from Gold and Silver are there, and that also applies to the other regions and stuff. You can kind of mix it
so
up.
You see them staying the same.
Mostly. I think Lance has retired and Blue is the Elite Four champion, right?
That's more fun.
I think once you've conquered all of the regions is when you have your final boss fight against Red on the top of Mount Silver. I think that's when he ascends, or when he descends from the heavens. He's like, all right, now you're worthy, Yeah, no. The other regions, well, because they're smaller, like kind of like remixed versions of them, will just sort of be like best ofs. I think having some like a handful of new gym leaders, like 1, 2, or 3, like in each region, also kind of makes sense. This is supposed to be like later on down the road after all of the stories of these other games, right? But a lot of the classics are still there too. I put my notebook away, and I shouldn't have done that. Let's see. Small.
With all
regions, please.
I was say, do you see the level cap increasing at all for post game?
Oh yeah, 100%. Past 100, no. I think there's just to a point where it's like, dude, you've cleared out like all of the gym leaders in like four regions. I'm throwing the strongest shit I have at you, and so like if you've hit level 100, so have the gym leaders.
That's awesome.
You did this to yourself, all right?
Yeah, no, like this is on you, buddy.
Are you gonna, or is the AI gonna, or the procedural generation gonna have to pull like a writers from Diamond and Pearl? The anime was just like, fuck it, everybody has a legendary now because you gotta lose. Someone's gotta knock you down.
It's like somebody's got to throw him at you. Yeah, the game.
Yeah, here's the 10-year-old with the dark eye.
You go into
the game
battle.
will
with,
be difficult in the end game because you're so powerful at that point. Yeah,
because like by the time you get through like Kano and Jhoto, you're probably going to be little 60s, 70s.
Yeah, you'll be up this like 70s, 80s for sure. And they'll likely be a point.
If you go with the original level curve, you'll be like 62.
You'll likely be at you'll likely have a full party of level 100s like by the time you're getting out of like your third region, right?
But you try to mess with the AI, and you're like, I'll have 4 100s, 1 level 4. And 1 level 28. See what the AI throws at me.
and your game just snaps. Like, oh no!
Just a solid level 70. You're like, I got this.
I got this in the back.
And so
it just starts burning.
And so because it scales though too, I do like the idea of like if you did want to pull like an Ash Ketchum in the anime series and start fresh for each region, you could.
Ooh, nice.
You know?
I like that as an option.
So you're doing it that it would scale to the Pokemon that are in your party at that time, rather than.
But that's not the only factor. That's not the only factor, though. Is what it
gotcha.
You said like badges as well and stuff like that.
Yeah, badges as well. And you can do that per region, and like unless you're rolling through with like a full like level 6 full 6 Pokemon all level 100, most gym leaders will still probably have 4 Pokemon. Like at most, they're all just going to be strong.
Yeah.
What was the one thing? Oh, so also in addition to post game, one of the things that and we've discussed this in like our post shows after we've recorded, is something that we've missed was the feeling of having to chase after legendary Pokemon. So every region has all of their legendary Pokemon. This is a game where you can feasibly capture every Pokemon that exists up to Scarlet and Violet, right? Which I realize is a very large amount. If we did want to cut down on the amount of regions available in it, we could. We'll say all of them for the time being, and then if like at the end, like we're like that's stupid, maybe we stop at Gen 4 or whatever.
I just really like the idea of seeing like modern Pokemon in pixel art. Like that just really excites me.
Which would be really fun, right?
Yeah,
little pixel Floyd Coco.
Yeah, exactly.
But what I want is kind of like the puzzles and feeling of like you are kind of unlocking this ancient mystery when going after legendary Pokemon again. And so like if you want Mewtwo, you gotta go through all the Cinnabar Island stuff and kind of figure out what happened to him. Go all the way through the cave to go and fight him at the end, right? If you want to get Celebi, you got to do all that stuff. You got to chase down Entei, Raikou, and Suicune, right? You got to traverse the tower in the sea in order to get Rayquaza. You got to learn Braille in order to get the Reggies. Like all of it, like bring all of that stuff back, and then also apply that to the newer legendaries that don't really have that anymore, who are always kind of given to you in the middle of the story and doing all that stuff. Like incorporate ways to incorporate ways to have to go after these legendary Pokemon that are kind of just handed to you in newer games. I think would be really fun. I don't have a ton of examples for that because there's a lot of fucking legendary Pokemon now. But that's the general idea.
Yeah, since your game is like story light, like you really only need like 2 sentences to explain like this is what's happening, go explore, kind of a thing. It wouldn't take much. Yeah,
you say story light. I mean, personally, I imagine that means more like what you're saying, story light, but not necessarily lore light. So like if you hear like, I feel like that's more realistic. Like, oh, I heard about the legend of Rayquaza,
exactly.
or and I want to chase after it. And maybe the closer you get to it, the more actual like lore dump.
Yeah,
the main quest is your nostalgic trip through the regions.
Exactly. And so like
my parents are going to get back together while I play through this game.
So it's like while you might not hear a ton about Rayquaza while running through Hoenn, you come across Pacific and suddenly people are like, there's supposed to be some crazy Pokemon in that tower out further down in the ocean that you can see, and you're like, all right, let's go. And it's this journey to get through. It's perilous. You got to do all these puzzles to get through all these rooms and stuff, and then at the end, there's Rayquaza. That sort
in
of
all
thing.
his glory.
I think would be really, really cool. I like the way that you describe that, Jordan. It is story light, but it is not lore light. I think a lot of the legendary Pokemon do have like really cool stories behind all of them, and being able to kind of incorporate that, I think would be really, really cool. Maybe you go find like an abandoned team, like Team Rocket, like base where they were trying to recreate Mewtwo, and there he is, or what, that sort of thing. I think would be really, really rad.
Gotcha.
I like the idea of like there being like a canonical paperboy that shows up in every region and just throws news at you, talking about like a new legendary or whatever.
Extra, yeah.
Read all about it.
It's 2023. What is this kid doing? What the fuck?
God of Creation Arceus at the top of this mountain.
No one's even printing these newspapers. How is this happening?
I was thinking it'd be funny for like to get to the, I think it was the altered world or whatever the dimension that Giratina's in.
Distortion world.
Random distortion world. Yeah, you just open a random door in Sinnoh, and so you're just like.
That reminds me
you
of
open it
the
up and everything's like open, is like upside down. You just close it again. You're like, nope.
That reminds me of the meme where it's like Jerry in front of Kramer's apartment. And it's just all red.
Yeah. Kramer, what's going on in there?
Nothing. It's just Cyrus from Team Galactic. Like nothing.
Don't worry about it.
I found out the other day Cyrus is supposed to be 27 years old, and it's like, my man, take a nap.
Ooh, dude, that's rough.
He should be at the club.
You got some rankles.
For real.
That's really
any
kind of
online
all I have.
functionality?
Are there additional questions? Online functionality, I think I really love the way that Scarlet and Violet plays. I think if you wanted to do it co-op, you absolutely could. I do have some improvements on that. Is one, be able to go inside of buildings with the people that you're playing with would be really nice. And then because it is story light, like you can both like challenge gyms at the same time. I don't know whether I want to incorporate it. It's like, hey, if you have a buddy, dual battles, I was like, I don't know if I'm there, but I would like to be able to progress through the story of a game with or without a friend. It's like whatever their progress is within the game, when they jump into your world, that's still their progress within the game.
Give me pixel raids.
Pixel raid. I don't hate the raids. I think if you make them actually properly turn-based, they'd be a lot more fun.
Make the timer work in a way that's like not working against you.
Yeah.
For once.
Yeah. Generally, you just make raids like actually genuinely turn-based. I'm there for it. Throw raids in there. Fuck it. And I mean, Wonder Trade's there. Have your battles, do all the other stuff that's been in Pokemon games. I think that kind of deserves to be there. I think it's like I don't want the actual game play itself to be too divergent what Pokemon is. What I just want it to be is kind of like the ultimate version of what it could be.
Okay.
It's the Pokemon remix, but like made for us.
Yeah, but also kids can still play it, and like and totally because the difficulty,
they just have to get good.
And because the difficulty options doesn't change what like the story or the events of it. You can play co-op with somebody that's playing on the normal mode as well, because if you're going into a gym, you're fighting them. You're not fighting them together. It's just
I get what you mean.
The two of you, and so like you can both progress through the game at the same time, which I think is fun. Would be cool. I'm not a huge fan of the Pokemon MMO idea. I do like it. Maybe like cap it at like four people or whatever. Have some friends with, 5, so I can play with all my siblings. With all my siblings and my wife, so we can all play together. Five people to a party. That's for me. That one. That's a change for me.
It's your game.
That's a change for me.
Do we make it 6 and then you could all battle, do a 6v6 battle? You know what I mean? Like
it's usually 5, but there's a 6 option.
If it pulls in a rando if you want to do that battle. Sure, 6. Why not? Fuck it. Who cares?
It actually just creates an NPC that you think is a real person, but like use moves, and you're like, "Are you real?" And then you look online, it's like, "Oh, they're not real." And it's like, that's why I can't beat this terror raid.
Yeah, no, fuck, who cares?
99, Pokemon 99. Here it comes.
Yeah,
Pokemon Battle Royale.
Yeah, especially just because like some of the most fun I've had was playing with like Jordan or my brothers, just in that, you know, we're running around and we'll be like, oh shit, do you see this Pokemon over here? And you know, you're trying to run and get there first before they can get a chance to
I remember
find it.
last year when Scarlet and Violet dropped, it was also like, because everybody had went in different directions or caught different Pokemon or chosen different stars, which made them get different Pokemon that they were carrying through their team. And so people be like, oh yeah, look at this. People are like, wait, what even is that thing? We're just looking at other people's Pokemon and all, or like, that's how I found out what like the final evolution for Spidops looked like.
Oh yeah. But part of that though was that because there's a pretty heavy story going on in Scarlet and Violet. Like there was a point where Jordan and I were playing and I was like, I can't go over that way yet because it'll throw me into this big story thing that I got to do in order to get to the area past that. Because we wanted to go look in this one area and I was like, I still have like one of those like Team Loud camps or whatever they were called.
Team Star.
Sure. And so
dope, though. I like Team Loud.
Yo, they're selling that loud. That's why they're evil, bro.
And so as I was like, that annoyed me because I was like, just let me go over there because I'm playing with a buddy. Like, let me just go over and do this thing instead.
I get what
of
you mean. Yeah,
having to clear this camp out. So there's none of that. Like you can all play together. You can all do whatever as long as all the people have essentially like not even beat Brock and Misty. If you all start at the same time, you go through Brock and Misty, and then the game opens up, and you can all do it. Sure, why not? Why the fuck not? Who cares? Everyone go play Pokemon and enjoy being there together because it still progresses your individual game separately, right?
And that's what Pokemon is about. The real friends we made along the way.
Exactly. So yeah, that's the dream game. Go out there, catch all, gotta catch them all. Go be the very best, like no one ever was. You can do it with your friends. You can experience a bunch of regions. All the Pokemon are there. They're all there. Every one of them. You know,
it's
gonna go out and have a good time.
Everybody is here, but it's 1,015 different everybody. It's a 3-hour-long reveal because it's just everybody is here.
Oh, and one little thing that I forgot to mention that I left out too. While it is Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur starts, something that I've always loved about Pokemon Yellow in particular is that you do start with Pikachu, but then as you progress through the game, you're given Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur. Something that I would love. I don't know whether this would be included in the Kanto Johto part, or if you have to go to the respective regions to go get the other starters that exist within those games. But I would like all of the starters throughout the series to be available, so that if you do have a favorite one, you can play the game with that one.
Mm-hmm. I like that a lot.
That's my thing. That's my
all right.
I'm really into that.
And that was Chris's dream Pokemon game. We are almost done with these Shared Screens Elite Fours Pokemon games, with the last one having to be Alex is going to be last, but certainly not least. And after that, we want to hear from you. So if you have a dream Pokemon game, or if you just have dreams and know what Pokemon is, message us on Instagram, on Twitter, in our Discord. Message any of us personally or the account itself, and let's get you on the show so you can tell us all about your dream Pokemon game. But until next time, gotta catch them all, everyone. Bye.
Bye.